This is Diane Mourglia-Swerdlow. Welcome to another edition of Cooking with Janet on expansions.com. Today we are going to talk about eggplants. Now, a lot of people don't know what to do with an eggplant, so I thought it might be kind of a fun thing to show you some things that I like to do with it and some things I've thought about doing that we'll talk about. So, this is the eggplant. It is purple. We talked about all vegetables being purple in the beginning. They do have changed some of it, so I have a couple of smaller eggplants for you to look at. I don't know the varieties, but this is a small baby one, and this one is a little lavender and white, and some of them are pure white, and I've seen some green, and I've seen some pure lavender. So of course, like everything else, they're experimenting, but these happen to be heirloom varieties. I am going to show you, to start with, a couple of dishes. First of all, this is going to be the beginning of baba ghanoush. Now, baba ghanoush is a Middle Eastern dish that's often used for dips. So what I've done is I've taken my eggplant and I've chopped off the stem, which you see. I also chop off the back part. Oops. Take that out of there, because sometimes that can be hard. And then, so you don't have to spend all your time, I cut it in half. I put some olive oil on it, turn it upside down on my baking sheet like this, and baked it in the oven at 475 for about 15 minutes until it was very, very soft. And I took it out, and I've been letting it cool so that I can show you how to make baba ghanoush. What I do is I take my, if you have a blender, which that's fine, this happens to be a Cuisinart with this kind of a blade in the bottom. And then we just take out the insides, which you can see from baking are very, very soft. Now, if you want to use the peel, you can. The peel is a little bit bitter, and it's not as soft and smooth to eat once it's blended up. So if you want to throw that peel in, and it's organic, so you're not concerned about your pesticides and herbicides and whatever else sides they put on there. But for me, I'm just going to use the flesh, which is very, very soft. Now, baba ghanoush, as I started to tell you, is an eggplant Middle Eastern dish that's often used as a dip or a side dish. You can use it as a dip with cucumbers, tomatoes, carrots, whatever you like. It's similar to hummus. If you've eaten that one of these days, I will show you how to make it, because it also is very, very easy and very good, very nutritious. This, of course, eggplant is very low carb, and it is considered a berry, believe it or not, and a member of the nightshade family. So some people, if you have allergies to tomatoes, you might have a problem with eggplant. So you might want to just start eating it sparingly in case you're not used to it. See how your body responds, because that's always the most important thing, is how does it act and react with you. Sometimes I thin down baba ghanoush, and you do that either with a little water, a little olive oil, a little lemon juice, and you can have a really nice salad dressing. So again, it does take a little bit of planning, because you have to cook your eggplant and cool it, but you can cook it at night, make it the next morning if you want, and it makes them, you know, as many eggplants as you want. You can make a nice large batch. Keeps a long time in your refrigerator. And again, we're after easy. If you like baked potatoes, it's good on that. I mean, you can use it on just about anything. You can use it on your meat. It just depends on what flavors your palate enjoys. And one more. So whatever you can find, whatever you want to do. If it's real seedy, you can take the seeds out if you don't want those in there, although I do believe the seeds are good for you, nutritionally wise, as long as you grind them up and you're able to digest them a bit. Okay, so once we have that in there, we're going to put the lid on and just smooth it out a little bit. about 1/4 cup of sesame tahini. Now this is organic raw sesame tahini that I get from Living Tree Community Foods. They do have a website. I'm going to add about 1/4 cup. Tahini is basically just ground up sesame seeds. And sesame seeds are extremely nutritious and again very, very low carb. So about 1/4 cup, which is about 4 tablespoons. Put that in there. We're also going to put in, now you can use fresh lemon juice. You need about 1/4 cup. It happens to be an organic one, or if you want to take a shortcut, and I'm going to do that today. I keep Lakewood 100% organic pure lemon juice on hand in my refrigerator at all times. I'm going to put in about 1/4 cup in there of that. I'm also going to throw in some garlic cloves, half a dozen of those. You can also do roasted red peppers, just whatever you would put in hummus you can put in this. A little salt and a little pepper. Maybe roughly 1/2 teaspoon in the size. A little black pepper. About 1/2 teaspoon, a little more. And finally, I'm going to do some of my granulated garlic. Tablespoons because we like garlic and it's good for you, and a few of Cindy's red chili peppers. So a tablespoon or 2. I think a little bit on the spicier side. And here we go, one last time. Okay, you want to run it for about 3 to 4 minutes. You want everything ground up and nice and smooth in there. And once you're satisfied, take a look, put it in your bowl. It's nice. If you want it thicker, you can add a little bit more tahini. You can see it's a really nice consistency. It's beautiful for party dip. It's really a wonderful, wonderful accompaniment to any meal, but it is delicious. Nice and smooth. And then when you want to serve it, you can take, say, a few little chili peppers, put it on top, so it makes, a little nice presentation on your table. So we'll set that aside. Now, the other fun thing we're going to do with eggplant today is I'm going to take this whole one, because I want to show you, you can just chop it in slices. Now, if you want to make eggplant parmesan, which we're not going to make today, but I am going to give you a couple of ideas that you can do as long as you have eggplant in your refrigerator. So you can cut it into circles. Then turn your heat up on your pan with a little bit of olive oil in it, and then you can put it in olive oil. And I have today a little bit of flour blend that we're going to try. If you want to have a thicker coat of breading on it, dip it in a beat up egg first. Just take your egg, beat it up, and then you put it in your hot oil. It's going to take this a second to get hot. So, and once you've done this to your eggplant, you can put it in a baking dish, layer it with some marinara sauce and some shredded cheese, and bake it in the oven for about 20 or 25 minutes, about 350. And you'll have eggplant parmesan. So it's an easy dish. You can also do ground meat in there. Again, any kind of meat that you like. Ground turkey, ground chicken, ground buffalo, ground beef. Another thing that you can do is you can take these before you fry it and put your ground meat in between. Put that on, dip it in egg, put it in your crumbs, and then fry it. So that's stuffed eggplant. So there's some different varieties of things that you can do. One thing that I have done, which I haven't tried before, but I'm going to try today, is I took my eggplant and I cut it into strips. I read about this on the internet, so I'm going to try it and see how it works. These are strips. Now, eggplant absorbs oil. So what I did was I put it in cold water with ice cubes and I refrigerated it for a few hours, because that way it's going to absorb the water instead of all the oil. And I've not done this before, but I want to see how it turns out. Then once you have your eggplant filled with water and not oil, then you put it on your paper towel and you blot out all the extra water. So it's not going to splatter as much. And again, you're going to roll it in your oil. And you've seen me do this with the breadcrumbs before, with the zucchini spears. And it is wonderful, but we're going to actually try it with the eggplant and see how that turns out. Now, I may decide that I like it better with the crumbs. This is a flour blend that is non-gluten. So it is gluten-free. Let's see if my oil is hot yet. Not quite, but it will get there. I'm going to try that versus the 2 rounds that I did that were not soaked, just so I can do a comparison. And while my oil is heating up, we'll do a few more and see what we think. The idea is we're supposed to come up with nice crispy fries that are low carb. Those of you watching your calories, low calorie. And the last time we were together, you saw me make my ghost sauce, so I put a dish of that out because I thought, these might be delicious dipped in the ghost sauce. So I'm going to try that and see how that works. So I like to experiment a lot. I try and do things that are simple and easy, things that I have on hand. I don't like to go out and buy a bunch of ingredients whenever I want to make a recipe. Now, if you've not made my recipes before, you may find that you're going to be stocking your pantry in ways you haven't thought of. And that's what happened to me. It's a step at a time. You buy a little of this, a little of that, and pretty soon you're replacing the things that you used to use with the things that you now use. So no need to rush out and get all panicky about anything. Do what you can as you can do it, and know that however the way it works out, it's all okay. So let's see what happens with these guys. Let's see if they get crispy. Okay, you can see these are crisping up really nicely, and I like the way that they feel. They aren't real soft and mushy. In fact, this one's almost hard. So a lot of the breading did come off in the bottom of the pan, and I don't know how that will work with future batches. And it might be better off to put the flour in a bag and shake it up. I'll have to experiment a little, but my first thought was, this sounds so intriguing to me. But I like the firmness that they have, and they do look like fries, and I'm going to try them in my ghost sauce because I think that's good. Now, these are the ones we did not soak, and these definitely are not as crispy, and they're a little soggier. So, but those are the ones if you want to make your eggplant parmesan that you'll want to use and layer those. These are turning out really nicely. I think they're too hot to eat at the moment. But I want to remind you of the ghost sauce that we made the last time we met, and I think these dipped in that is just going to be fantastic. So I'm eager to try it, but of course I'm going to have to wait until it cools. This was a fun experiment. I hope you've enjoyed it. We're going to, as soon as it cools off, I'm going to give it a try. And try it in my ghost sauce as well. So we have today the baba ganoush, which you're going to want to try with your fresh veggies or rice crackers. You can thin it down to put it on a salad dressing. You can serve it for company, put it in your refrigerator. It's going to keep a long time, low carb, easy to make, and absolutely delicious. And then we have the eggplant fries dressed in the, I'm going to try it. Let's see if I can get that and see what it's like. It looks so good. That's good. I'm going to have to try that, and please try my ghost sauce. That was amazing. I like the crunchy. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. Have fun. Please be sure and write on the forum under the recipes and nutrition section what you're doing for nutrition, how it's affecting your life. If you've tried the recipes, what do you think? I had one woman write in, tell me she's already lost 15 pounds by using these recipes, going to Whole Foods, and she's really feeling better. So please join us on the forum. I do check in there all the time, almost every day I'm on there, seeing what's going on. If I have time, I make a reply, but at least I'm reading. So anyway, take care. It was nice to visit with you again. Hi, welcome back. This is Diane Mourglia-Swerdlow with Expansions.com. I'm always happy to see you. I hope you've been enjoying our cooking segments. I have lots of interesting things to share with you to help keep your kitchen time fun and never dull and boring, hopefully. Today we are going to make ratatouille. And many of you may have heard of that. It's very easy to do, especially this time of year with the vegetables that are around. So it's kind of a combination of things. I've shown you how to do eggplant. I've shown you how to do zucchini. I'm going to show you how to put them together so that you can have an interesting vegetable dish that, again, you can make it as easy as you want or as little as you want. You can put it over rice, you can add your ground meat to it, you can add some cheese to it, but I'm going to show you the basic dish and then you can make your meal around it should you choose to. So what I'm starting you off with is I've shown you already the eggplants and the little eggplants. I've shown you the zucchinis. Today I'm introducing to you a pepper, which sometimes, this is a sweet one, I cut the top off and I stuff them. That makes also a really good dish. This is called the pith inside, and the pith is what makes your pepper hot. So if you like hot foods, you can leave it in, or you can take it out if you want to stuff it. If it's sweet, it's not really going to matter, but it will give your dish a little bit of extra flavor. In our ratatouille, we're also going to start off with a base of, I have chopped up garlic here, and I already have my olive oil heating. You can see it's beginning to smoke a little bit. So I'm going to put my chopped up garlic in here, 6 or 7 cloves. I'm also putting in my chopped up organic onion. And you notice these are chunks today, because I like to kind of have everything be about the same size. We've done shredded. We're doing the chunks today. So this is the little eggplants like I've shown you over here. These are the little eggplants that are chopped up. I cut them into rounds and then I cut them into pieces so they're kind of fit in nicely and they don't get too lost in the dish. And again, how much you want to put in depends on what you have on hand. If you like onion more than eggplant more than onion, it's up to you. So I'm going to add a couple more of these little eggplants in there for you. Now the eggplants, as you might remember, I told you, do have a tendency to absorb the oil. So if you don't want to have as much oil in your dish, then what you'll want to do is cut these up in advance, soak them in a bowl of cold water with ice cubes for an hour or 2. For me personally, I don't think it's worth it when I do a dish like this, but everybody has their preferences, so you want to go with your preferences. And you're probably going to have to add a little bit more oil because the eggplant is going to soak it up as it fries along. I'm going to leave that and come back here to my zucchini. Remember, we've done zucchini spears, we've done shredded zucchini, we've done a lot of things with zucchini. And again, I'm going to put this into chunks because that goes best with my dish. So I'm cutting my zucchinis into quarters and just making some bite-sized chunks out of them. The green zucchini, which most of you are most likely familiar with. And I have the yellow zucchini, which you may not be familiar with. Cut off the flower end, the stem end, and cut this one into quarters as well. Now in ratatouille there are many, many different recipes and varieties. It's what you like, and it's kind of the general combination that people go for. Some people like to put mushrooms in, some people put peppers in, some people, again, take out or add in, whatever it is you think. Now if you like things together, you're going to like this dish. If you're the kind of person who says, oh, I don't want to mix my vegetables, well, I'm going to tell you to try it. And instead of just taking, there we go, we're browning it really nicely. Instead of picking everything out and taking a bite of this and a bite of that, I'm going to encourage you to take a spoonful and try it all together, because trying it all together is what gives it its flavor. And that you might liken to your mind patterns. Sometimes you want to get your frequencies in a certain recipe that makes sense to you and is favorable. And alone, those frequencies might not be so enjoyable, but when you put them together, you have something you never thought of. So ratatouille is a really interesting dish. I had just given this to someone not too long ago who told me they didn't like eggplant. But when they ate this dish, because it was all together, I was told that it was delicious. And again, we don't want those zucchinis to get soft and mushy. We want to keep them crispy, so they're not in there for very long. Now, I want you to notice the order that I'm stir frying. I started with the garlic and the onion because that takes the longest, and the eggplant because that takes a little while to soften and it's going to absorb some oil. From there I added in the bigger chunks of zucchini. Now we're going to cut up the pepper. And again, I want the size of whatever I put in to kind of mix in nicely, both aesthetically, the way it appears to your eyes. You want that to be pleasing, easy to eat, and agreeable to your palate. And sometimes I don't really know what I'm going to do until I get started. That's what I call my oversoul cooking. What is my oversoul telling me to do? How does my oversoul tell me to cut it, to combine, to cook? Go with your intuition. What I'm providing for you is a guideline. What you really need to do is be on your own. Do what works for you. So in goes the pepper, and again, you can do green pepper, red pepper, and you can see what a nice looking dish this is. Aesthetically, it's pleasing to the eye. It's like, wow, I might actually like to try that. And add a little bit more oil. Last ingredient, I'm not going to add it yet, but I'm going to tell you about it, is I'm going to stir it at the very last some freshly chopped heirloom tomatoes. And these are different varieties because it's going to give you different colors. So this is what they looked like before they went in. This is an ox heart, and I cannot tell you today what these are because I have forgotten. But I will find out. And when we get to doing this segment on tomatoes, which we eventually will, and I will tell you, but you can see these are actually more of a purple tomato, believe it or not. And I'm making these chunky as well. These will be chunks similar to what you are seeing in the ratatouille dish. So these will be chunks. Now this is getting to the place where I like it. So I'm going to add in some pepper, just a sprinkle, maybe half a teaspoon, not quite, a little bit of salt. I have some oregano, dried oregano from Cindy. Oregano to me is stronger than basil, so I don't use as much, generally speaking, maybe a teaspoon, if that. It has a very distinct flavor to me and my taste buds. Basil from Cindy as well, dried organic. I like basil, and I use more of that. I might use a tablespoon or two. Now, if you want, this alone spices up your dish very nicely. It's a wonderful combination. And at this point, once your vegetables are where you like it, you would remove it from the heat and add in your chopped up tomatoes. However, I kind of like the Italian flavor. So what I do, because I keep it on hand, I've told you before, the organic marinara sauce, I put in maybe a half a cup, maybe a little bit more, because I like the spice and the seasoning that it gives you. So I mix that together, and I like the color. And only about 11 carbs in a half a cup, so you're not adding a lot of carbs, but you are adding some flavor, and it's easy flavor. Or you can add your own tomato sauce if you like, if you make it yourself. This is what I like to do. And if you want to do that in place of adding your own oregano and basil, you can do that as well. Make it easy for yourself. If you don't have something in the house, go, I can't do it, and get upset. Just, improvise. That's what your oversoul is telling you to do. Okay, now it's done. I'm going to turn the heat off. Before I serve, I'm going to take my tomato chunks and put those in, and that is going to gently heat through everything. It's going to be a really beautiful dish. And like I told you before, I'll just remind you, you can serve this over rice or baked potato. Then on top of that, you can crumble up some of your chopped meat of whatever it is, turkey, chicken, buffalo beef. And then on top of that, you can put a little cheese. Goat cheese, sheep cheese, and you have a really nice complete meal. Your veggies, few carbs if you want those, your meat, your protein, so and you're all set. So this is really a wonderful dish, ratatouille, Janet style. I hope you enjoyed the show. Again, please come and join me on the forums, recipes and nutrition. It's fun to hear what you're doing in your kitchens, and you'll tell me things that I need to do, and we'll share with each other. That's what the forums are about. Janet Diane Mourglia-Swerdlow, expansions.com. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.